In 2015, I visited a place out in the middle of nowhere in the great state of Georgia called the Georgia Guidstones, which was erected as an explanatory marker near the site indicated by a small group of Americans who seek the age of reason. It was a strange sight to see. These were near 20-foot stone henges standing out in the middle of cow pastures where there is hardly anything around for miles. Upon these stones are etched in multiple different languages, even ancient Egyptian, some, shall we say, guidelines for humanity. Some of these guidelines seem fairly good on the surface, while others seem a little nefarious. And what's more, the site indicates that there might be a mysterious time capsule 6 feet under the Guidestones themselves. However, the time and place it indicates for when the capsule was originally placed in the ground and for when it should be opened have always remained blank, with no dates given. At first, the public didn't know what to make of these stones, but over the years, a growing concern about what they stand for has divided Americans. In recent weeks, the contention reached a fever pitch. Today, I will share with you the story of these stones and thoughts as to why they were recently destroyed. Please like and subscribe and support me on Patreon so I can continue to share these kinds of stories with you. Thank you. Let's get into it. On an unassuming day in March 1980, granite slabs etched with 10 guides for an age of reason on them in 12 different languages, including Sanskrit, Babylonian cuneiform, and ancient Egyptian, was erected in a seemingly arbitrary field in the state of Georgia. And many people wonder who was responsible for this strange project. And many don't have any good answers. A year prior, in the summer of 1979, a well-dressed and elegant-looking man, going by the name R.C. Christian, approached Joe H. Fendley, Sr., the president of the Albertan Granite Finishing Company, with his idea to erect a large granite monument somewhere in Georgia. Now, the name R.C. Christian, he admitted, was a pseudonym, chosen because it represented his beliefs and of the organization that funded the project. His real name, so far as we know, was only ever revealed to one other person, a certain Wyatt C. Martin, president of the Granite City Bank, who signed a legal agreement to never reveal his identity or those financing the project. In that agreement, all paperwork regarding the project was to be destroyed upon completion. Martin would take Christian's identity to his grave. That said, it hasn't stopped people from theorizing. Many have hypothesized R.C. Christian to actually be Ted Turner, former owner of the Atlanta Hawks, Braves, founder of TNT, TBS, and infamously CNN, and more. What's more is that R.C. seems to be associated with the secret society, the Rosicrucians, which was founded, at least in story, by the near mythical figure Christian Rosencreuz. Upon being approached by Christian, Mr. Fendley recalled being initially shocked as he listened to his plans to lead humanity into an age of reason, starting with these massive blocks to be formed into henges of sorts. These would stand the test of time and be around should some sort of cataclysmic disaster reset humanity. It turns out that the henges were no match for an improvised explosive device, though, something we'll address a little later. While Christian and Wyatt Martin were discussing locations, Mr. Fendley had agreed to undertake the project for $5,000, which in today's money would be nearly $20,000, and started work on the 4 large blue granite slabs, a center stone known as the gnomon stone, and a capstone. In total, upon completion, the stones all put together weighed 119 tons, and over 400 characters sandblasted into the slabs on nearly every side. Once erected upward, the stones stood about 16 feet above the ground. The final location was selected. It was to be in Elbert County, Georgia, and the slabs were set up in a 5-acre plot in the middle of a cow pasture about 8 miles south of Hartwell. Christians' reasoning for this location involved the natural rich granite landscape, the mild climate, the fact that it is one of the highest locations in Elbert County, and that his ancestors had once lived in the area. It's uncertain if the close proximity to an ancient Cherokee location called Al-Ye-Li Alohi, that is the center of the world, is a coincidence or not. A little-known fact about the little-known monument, sometimes referred to as the American Stonehenge, is that it was meant to be much larger. Christian explained to Martin while scouting locations for the monument that other groups of similar goals would eventually erect more stones in the future to ultimately encircle the original and form an outer ring around the central structure. This obviously never happened. The specifics of the structure don't end there. There are nuances to nearly every element of its design. The capstone is astronomically aligned with the North Star Polaris, and the stones also served as a calendar where every day at noon the sun shone through a 7/8-inch hole, which illuminated the current day's date on an engraving below. And also a section cut through the top of the gnomon stone oriented the monument with the summer and winter solstices. Great care seems to have been put into this design, drawing, apparently, inspiration from Stonehenge in England. The inscriptions placed on every side of the stones were meant for the benefit of future generations. Across the top of the capstone, written in Babylonian cuneiform, Egyptian hieroglyphics, Sanskrit, and classical Greek, is this sentence: "Let these be a guidestone to an age of reason." On each of the individual slabs themselves are listed 10 guides written in 8 different languages. They were Arabic, Chinese, English, Hebrew, Hindi, Russian, Spanish, and Swahili. The guides are as follows. 1. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. 2. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. 3. Unite humanity with a living new language. 4. Rule passion, faith, tradition, in all things with tempered reason. 5. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. 6. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. 7. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. 8. Balance personal rights with social duties. 9. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. And finally, 10. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Now, these guides are, at least to me, a mixed bag, right? And unless you look really closely at them, they can seem reasonable. For instance, I am all for avoiding petty laws and useless officials. I'm all for prizing truth and beauty, and definitely leaving room for nature. But let me ask you, if it were up to you, how would you go about limiting a population, or for that matter, decreasing a world population of currently nearly 8 billion to 500 million? I don't know, that sounds a little sketchy to me anyway. And then again, how are you going to guide reproduction? Would you enact laws about who, how, and when people can reproduce? And what is the world court they're talking about here? Are these the founding guidelines for a one world order? What do you think? Are these guidelines good? Are they bad? Or are they neither? And just benign? It goes without saying that these stones have solicited much controversy over the years. Some say they are evil, claiming that human sacrifices have gone on there. At one point, someone claimed to have seen bloodstains on the stones. Another time, a witch, true story, a witch and a warlock held their wedding vows on site. Some say that the stones merely appear to be good on the surface, but are in fact the focal point of satanic rituals, and have been constructed by the elite who aim to steer the course of human affairs from behind the curtain. Conspiracy theories abound, and although we need to keep ourselves grounded in reality the best that we can, there is often truth to conspiracies. It's a fine line to walk for sure, one which must be walked carefully. But because of the escalating controversy, over the years the site has been prone to vandalism. It goes without saying that many don't like the stones. In fact, Republican candidate for governor of the state, Candace Taylor, vowed to demolish the structure via executive order should she win the election. She said this as recently as May of this year, 2022. And she didn't win, but some like-minded group or individual destroyed the stones all the same. On July 6th, 2022, there was an explosion at the site, early before the sun rose around 4 a.m. It destroyed one of the slabs entirely. Officials released security footage of the blast, which can be found online, but what's strange is that there doesn't seem to be much emphasis on any footage of the people who set the explosive device up, which, if you have the footage of the explosion, you'd think you'd have footage of the people who did it, right? As of this video that you're watching now, there doesn't seem to be any evidence of people setting the bomb up. And even stranger still is that within the day, rather than roping the area off for an official investigation, officials demolished the entire site, claiming safety concerns. It doesn't appear that there was any effort put into preserving evidence to find out who did this. And finally, not helping the state of Georgia's case is also the absence of the time capsule. Officials claimed to have dug for it, but it seems, as they tell us, that there was no time capsule at any location beneath the stones. I have many conflicting feelings about the site being destroyed. On one hand, I've personally been there, and I feel a sense of sorrow to have lost such a strange and interesting monument with cultural significance. But on the other, I wonder about the unseen forces at work behind them. Is there really some sort of unseen war going on? Is there any truth to any of the conspiracies? And the truth is, I think there might be some. I don't know to what extent, but what I do know is that there are powerful people in the world who remain largely anonymous and who also influence events for both good and for evil. Final question is, am I, are you, or are we able to distinguish adequately between the two? Sometimes it's a little tough, and the destruction of these stones kind of forces me to acknowledge that. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and get your name in the credits here by supporting me on Patreon. Beautiful ghosts, thank you for sticking with me over the years and helping me tell these stories. I hope to tell many more.